It's taken a little while this week to even want to sit in front of the camera and do this vlog in light of what happened in Las Vegas on Monday night. Matthew chapter 5 verse 3 says, "Flourishing are the poor in spirit, for they will inherit the kingdom of heaven." When I think about what happened this week, it breaks my heart. Already 59 lives have been lost, hundreds have been injured, and countless lives have been forever altered because of this horrific and senseless act of violence. It's detestable. It's a great reminder that this world is so sinful, so filled with evil. So I also have to go back and examine the words of Jesus. I long for heaven. But Jesus said, because I'm here, the kingdom of heaven is here on earth. And Christians, kingdom citizens, you bring heaven to earth every day with the way you live. And I'm just asking, Lord, how? You've told us to flourish. And this doesn't feel like flourishing to me. And I think this is why understanding what God's word truly says matters so much. If we read that verse and we use the word happy, happy are the poor in spirit, we miss the point. Because there's nothing happy about this moment. There's nothing that makes me think that God has blessed us because of this event. So while blessed and happy are not poor translations, as if they're just the wrong word, they're not complete. There's more to it. Jesus is telling us to step into this kingdom way. This is an overarching theme of what it means to be a Christian here on earth. He has called us to flourish, but that doesn't mean that every circumstance will feel blessed or every circumstance will bring happiness. He's called us into a life of abundance that goes far beyond our circumstances. So in light of what Jesus is really teaching us, there's a couple things that I would ask that you do this week. First and foremost, don't forget these families whose lives have been forever changed because of what just happened. Lift them up in your prayers. Consider how you can step in and help. Be mindful of their situation. The second thing is in light of what we said on Sunday, and as always, there's a link in the comment section to the full sermon. But when we reconsider what it is that Jesus is actually teaching us, he's teaching us how to be poor in spirit. Well, we said to be poor in spirit is to view yourself in the context of who God actually is. As we become poor in spirit, we begin to see ourselves as smaller and smaller. And the only reason we begin to see ourselves as a smaller individual is because we view ourselves now in light of who God is and how big and how grand he is. You see, sometimes I think I'm the important one. I know God is big, and I know he takes care of the big things, but sometimes I'm tempted to believe that it's my responsibility to take care of the little things. So in church planting, as we're getting Story Church up and running and we're starting this movement, I tend to think that I have to make everything happen. And while he's called me to be diligent, fruitful in my work, he is the one working. He is the one working in people's hearts and in their lives, changing them and building his church. And it was the same way when I was helping a friend start a business a few years ago. I was in charge. I was the sales guy. It was my job to drum up business. And it was so easy to forget that God was in control of even that. I thought I had to take on the responsibility. And I was getting my job description confused with his job description. Well, why was that the case? It's simple. I wasn't poor in spirit. I was full of myself. I'm full of self-belief. I'm so convinced that if I work hard enough, I can make anything happen. Jesus is not calling us out of a strong work ethic. He's calling us into greater faith. And it begins by seeing that you're poor in spirit, recognizing how small you are in light of how big God is. So, Story Church, the next challenge is, how are you too big? And how is God too small? What area of your life are you tempted to believe that you are the one making it happen and not God? Those are my two challenges this week, church. Don't forget about the victims of Las Vegas. And don't forget that God is the one who is big. God is the one who is making you rich in the kingdom of heaven. Be poor in spirit.